Hello, Catholic Replies students. This is Mrs. Politsky, and I have your notes for Chapter 4, Section 5, Sacred Places and Sacred Spaces. And we're going to start with the sacred spaces to begin with. The big thing that we need to talk about as far as sacred spaces are the mosque or the masjid, which is a place of prostration and public worship for Muslims. Really, the main purpose of a mosque is for prayer, and this prayer can be either private or communal. Mosque is a building for the most part. They're created of stone or brick, typically in the shape of a square. They have minarets, which are those towers that are usually placed at the corners. That is where the Muslim declares or proclaims the adhan, which is the call to prayer. Aside from just being a building, mosque for the most part can be a place where you have social occasions such as weddings or meetings. In non-Muslim countries, it may be a place where Muslim children receive their religious education. It may be also a place where Muslims will go to make funeral arrangements and where a body is prepared for burial. Aside from our sacred spaces, we need to talk about sacred places. And Mecca is probably the most holy city in Islam. It's the birthplace of Muhammad, it's the site of his revelations. And within the city of Mecca is a building known as the Kaaba. This is a place where many Muslims will go on their pilgrimage. It is kind of like the Holy of Holies for Jews. It is kind of like the geographic epicenter of Islam. It's symbolic of the divine presence of God. And after Muhammad died, uh, a mosque was built around the Kaaba, and it's known as the Grand Mosque to this day. And when people are on their Hajj, they will circle the Kaaba 7 times. Aside from Mecca, the city of Medina is the second most holy city in Islam. It's the place to which Muhammad immigrated. It's roughly 200 to 300 miles from Mecca, but it is where Muhammad went after he left the city of Mecca, when many of the people of Mecca were upset with him. He went to Medina, was able to win over the people there, and converted many to the Islamic faith. Within the city of Medina, Muhammad's mosque is. It's a place where a lot of people like to visit because that's his site of his burial. And it's also a historic site for many of the early Imams. Aside from Mecca and Medina, we have the city of Jerusalem. And this is not only a sacred city for Muslims, but also for Jews and Christians alike. It is the site of where Muhammad made his night journey. And to kind of explain what that's all about, the night journey was an event where Muhammad was taken miraculously on a winged horse to the Temple Mount in Jerusalem. And there he prayed at the head of the assembled and the long deceased prophets of Abraham, Moses, and John the Baptist. It's this event that Muhammad briefly ascends into heaven, and this ascension is marked by the practice of praying 5 times a day. It's basically where that practice began as a result of this. At the end of the 7th century, Muslims restored the ruined Temple Mount, and they now call that Haram Allah Ashif, or the Noble Sanctuary. This honors Muhammad's night journey. Muslims have also built other shrines, the Dome of the Rock, where it's believed that Abraham also ascended to heaven. The Golden Dome of the Rock can be seen throughout the city of Jerusalem to this day. The Mosque of Al Aqsa, or the furthest mosque, is the furthest holy place from the Kaaba that has been built in the city of Jerusalem, and it is the largest mosque in Jerusalem, holding roughly 5,000 people. Aside from Mecca, Medina, and Jerusalem, for the Shias, it's the city of Karbala. And Karbala, for the most part, is on the map here. It's like due south of the city of Baghdad along the Euphrates River. But Karbala is the site of the massacre of Hussein and his companions. And for Shias, Hussein is basically the son of Ali, who they see as being uh, the fourth rightful successor of Muhammad, and supposedly a son in law of Muhammad, hence the bloodline going back to Muhammad's family. And the way the story goes is Hussein and his family were traveling to Kufa, Iraq, and they were basically apprehended by some of the Sunni, I guess, and Hussein and his family were murdered, and hence the martyrdom begins. And as a result of this, uh, the city of Karbala is a kind of a pilgrimage site for the Shias because it contains the tomb of Husan. All right, thank you very much.